Well, thank you all for joining us today. And before I get started, let me recognize a few folks. First, let me recognize members of the Metro Council who are here with us. Walter Hunt is here, Ronnie Stein, Peter Westerholm, Doug Pardue, Buddy Baker, and Anthony Davis. I'd also like to recognize the co-chair of the Music City Music Council, Randy Goodman, who's with us. And from the Parks Board, we have George Anderson and Stan Fossick. And thank you all for being here. We're here on this pedestrian bridge because it gives us a great perspective on two prime pieces of our city's riverfront. The thermal site here behind me and the lawn on the east bank in front of LP Field. With the completion of Cumberland Park and the renovation of the bridge building, Nashville has started to see what can happen when you make riverfront space a draw for families and tourists for both recreation and entertainment. 3 or 4 times a week, events are held in either the park or in the bridge building, everything from weddings to fundraisers to festivals. Even when there are no planned events, Cumberland Park is often full of families and has become a popular destination just to enjoy a good time outdoors. And you can see there are kids in there today, and after the heat of today, you may want to go over there and join them. It's obvious why you can't beat the river and our skyline as a backdrop. The park is filled with unique and inviting features. Nashville is fortunate to sit along the Cumberland River. It's an incredible asset for many reasons, including its aesthetic appeal. People are drawn to water, and we have seen in other places that when you make the riverfront a destination, the center of your city, it creates energy and excitement. It brings people out on foot and on bike, not only people who work downtown or who live downtown, but residents from all over the city. Today we are announcing the continuation of our city's riverfront redevelopment. This fall, we will begin construction on the second phase of the East Bank redevelopment with the addition of a river landing. This will be a 4.5-acre park project on the north side of the bridge building, which will be right over here, that will add green space and improve access to the water for people to canoe, kayak, and row. This project will involve creating a flatter, gentler slope to the water's edge that will be bordered by a concrete landing mat so the public can get to the water directly and safely. Kayakers, crew teams, and canoers will be able to easily walk their boats down the new slope and put into the water directly off the mat. The new slope will also function as park space with bench seating, new trees for shade, picnic areas, meadow gardens with an uninterrupted view of downtown. Above the slope, we will create an upper park, replacing what are now overgrown dirt mounds and an existing asphalt parking lot road with green space, trees, a plaza, a seating area with movable chairs and tables, pedestrian and bike pathways that will connect to the bridge building. We envision this new park space being used as a temporary athletic field for tailgating, for special events and festivals, and just everyday playing or relaxing. This project will also encompass the space in front of and below the bridge building, with the new plaza area being added directly under the Ghost Ballet, and beside it, a docking location for the General Jackson, the Music City Queen, and other large boats, which currently have to run aground on the rock and grass to load and unload passengers. Another plaza with the switchback walkway will be added between the river and the bridge building to provide river access for people who use wheelchairs or have other physical disabilities. And the East Bank docks will be rehabbed, adding electrical power and other amenities for boaters and public use. With the completion of this second phase of East Bank redevelopment, we will have added a total of 10.5 acres of new parkland on the East Bank. Thought we were going to get a flyover or something. That would have been. We are also announcing today that we are moving forward with the redevelopment of the West Bank as well. As most of you know, last year, the Convention Center Authority oversaw the creation of a SoBro master plan to gather community input on the future of this rapidly changing dynamic area of downtown. As an extension of the SoBro master plan, the Convention Center Authority also commissioned a plan for the redevelopment of the thermal site. This plan re-envisioned the entire West Bank, since thermal was left out of the original Riverfront redevelopment plan completed in 2006. While this West Bank Riverfront master plan, which you can see on the board next to me, is exciting and impressive like the East Bank, we have to take it one phase at a time. We will begin by issuing a contract for final design of the thermal site and an adjacent flood wall that will function as a promenade. The main goals of the first phase of West Bank redevelopment will be to, number one, mitigate any future flooding of downtown from the Cumberland River, and two, preserve the last great piece of open space downtown for public use. It has been well reported that MDHA has already redirected $7 million in federal flood aid for flood mitigation measures as part of the West Bank redevelopment. As you can see in these conceptualized drawings, the entire West Bank riverfront, from the thermal site all the way to Church Street, would be bordered by a promenade. The walkway will double as a flood wall with removable partitions that would only be in place if the Cumberland was at risk of flooding. While the Army Corps of Engineers is still conducting a Cumberland River feasibility study, we know from our own Unified Flood Preparedness Plan undertaken by Metro Water Services that a flood wall will be an essential component of any comprehensive flood mitigation program. The Corps is aware of this project, have been supportive of our plans to move forward. And frankly, there's no better time to install a flood wall than when the thermal site will already be under construction. Which brings me to our concept for the thermal site. Over the last couple of years, we have started allowing a select number of concerts to be held here. The CMA Music Fest, the 4th of July, Zach Brown's Food and Music Festival have all been great successes. But on most days, when thermal is not being used for one of these annual events, the site, as you can see, is closed off to the public. It is closed off with a chain link fence. As I said, this is the last great piece of open space in downtown Nashville, and it sits in a premier location on the edge of our river. Like other great cities that have taken the effort to preserve and plan open space downtown, I believe, if done right, the thermal site can be an iconic park that generations of Nashvillians will be proud of and in which they can enjoy. We know this is something the public would like to see. During the SoBro master planning process, people told us that whatever we do with this space, it should be primarily civic open space, accessible to everyone to enjoy. And that is exactly what we intend to do. As you can see, the conceptual designs done to date show an event shelter constructed near the middle of the 12-acre site, allowing the structure and ancillary buildings to be located outside of the 500-year floodplain. The other half of the site would be an open park about 3.5 times the size of the green on the public square. This new lawn would be flanked by gardens and a dog park, which we know many downtown residents will enjoy. While the look and exact features of this may change in the final design process, right now we envision a venue that would hold about 6,500 people with about 2,500 removable seats, and the rest would be grass seating. It's a space where the symphony could play on summer nights, where we could continue to do the 4th of July events, the CMA, and other popular shows. But most importantly, the public will be able to enjoy this space as a park. Our intention is to extend the Rolling Mill Hill Greenway directly to the thermal site. The new greenway would weave in and around the whole site, adding an entire mile of new paths for pedestrians and bikes. This new greenway will also connect to the Riverfront Greenway, which already extends all the way to the Metro Center. That's good news, Mark, right? That's good. 365 days a year, the public will be able to access and enjoy a unique park space. Steps away from our bustling downtown, it will be a 12-acre getaway in the heart of our city. Existing funds in a previously approved capital spending plans will allow us to design and construct this first phase of West Bank Riverfront redevelopment and continue our work on the East Bank at the same time. All of these facilities will be managed and maintained by parks. Nashville has a growing reputation as a great place to work, to live, and to visit. We have momentum, which every city cannot say. We want to capitalize on that momentum by continuing to build on our city's strengths and its attributes, and at the same time continue to build on our efforts to make Nashville a walkable, bikeable city with an abundance of parks and open space for the public to enjoy. We have a unique opportunity before us to make Nashville's riverfront every Nashvillian's park. I'm excited about the potential for both sides of the riverbank, and I look forward to getting the work underway. And now I would be happy to answer a few questions if there are any. Don't feel compelled. Yes.
Question for you. What are you looking to provide that residents here can't already find?
Well, what they can't find is a open space park in the middle of downtown. We don't have the greenway connected together from Rolling Mill Hills out to Metro Center. We don't have access where boats can land on the East Bank. We don't have a large space there for sporting events, for tailgating, for picnicking, and everything else. I mean, what this provides is an opportunity for the people of Nashville to have access to the river, to be able to engage in physical activities, to be able to engage in picnicking or relaxing. It will allow for the residents of downtown, an ever-growing number, to have a dog park. It makes the river truly the center of our city. And then the addition of a music facility will allow us to do what we do best, which is hold fantastic music events, which we do with regularly and with great success.
How much does it cost?
Well, we're estimating that the cost will be somewhere in the $30 to $40 million range. The money, as I've said, is some money that is redirected already toward protection from future floods, which will be money used to help design the flood walls. The money for the East Bank and the money for the West Bank is already contained in previously approved capital budgets. We are not making a request for new funds at this time.
When did you say the West Bank development groundbreaking might begin?
Well, the next stage, in terms of the timing of this, we'll begin construction on the East Bank this fall. That project is further along. The construction contract has not yet been awarded, and we'll have a better idea about the completion timeframe once the contractor is on board. For the West Bank, we will begin final design this fall, which will take a few months. While the final design is being completed, we will issue an RFP for construction, and like the east side, we'll have a better sense of the time frame. And in terms of exact figures of cost, of course, all of what we're doing here at this point is conceptual. But again, we have been through the council process in several years to have funds approved for riverfront redevelopment.
Do you think the construction of this could coincide with the digital construction of the Sound Stadium?
Sure. I mean, the Sound Stadium is a whole different thing, since that is something that has come up in the last 4 to 5 months. This, in terms of riverfront redevelopment, has been something that the city has been working on for years. There has been money in the capital budget as recently as last year for redevelopment. So these things can happen simultaneously or whenever schedule allows us to build them.
How does it change the businesses existing or
Well, I think what it does for downtown is just makes downtown even more compelling than it already is. I mean, one of the great success stories of Nashville is that over the course of the last 20 years or plus, we have, as a city, successfully invested in our downtown, and now it is a thriving downtown where people want to live. The number of people living downtown has gone up, and it will continue to go up. And at some point, very soon, we'll be over the 10,000 mark for residents downtown. You are also seeing an influx of new businesses to downtown. I mean, I can look around, you look at the Baker Donaldson building, you look over at ServiceSource, which has hundreds of employees, which is something that's only been there for 3 or 4 years. Asurion is here right at the park. It will make downtown even more attractive for investment. It'll make downtown even more dynamic. Thank you.